Hey guys, it's Gwynaire here from Defy Reality Entertainment, and today I'm going to be going through some Blender work. I've finally come back to 3D modeling after a very long time of working in Visionaire, and I've decided to get back into quite a bit of 3D modeling because there are still a lot of environments to create for Neyyah, exterior and interior environments. So since yesterday I've been working on this particular scene here. I will try not to give too much away from the scene, but today I want to focus on modeling a doorway. Neyyah and we all love doorways. It's something that's really cool within a game like this, opening a door and see where it leads, and it's the curiosity that's invoked from that. So I am going to be referring to these images here, which was taken on a trip to Onga. There was a steam train gala, I believe that's what it was called. I went with a friend of mine, and he loves trains, and this place had so many cool, inspirational, steampunky things that I just thought they were perfect for Neyyah. And these steam trains, these particular trains here, some of them were steam, some of them I think were I'm not too sure anyway. But there's some really cool looking doorways that I took some pictures of, and that these will definitely inspire the game. And I'm actually going to refer to these for a new door design that I'm doing here. So we're going to start with a basic kind of shape and also scaling. This is Devlogs. He was named by one of my patrons, Nazim, and he decided to call this character Devlogs. And you can actually find the link to my Patreon as well. It's going to be in this video. Great place to be for supporting Neyyah and the full-time development of the game. So definitely check that out. Some really cool rewards there. So we're just going to make sure that we can scale this door so that it looks realistic in comparison to how high the camera will be, which is always set to about here, to the Devlogs' head height. So we'll say he's about sort of 6 foot. All the rendered images and everything are usually set to Devlogs' head height. Just about, maybe just above sometimes, so it just sort of has this kind of look like that. Never down here, but just about here. So I'm going to see where we go with this. I actually had some problems with the mic earlier today, this afternoon actually, well, not very long ago at all, and I didn't know if I was actually going to be able to do a video, but I think we're all good, so fingers crossed this video makes it. So what I want to do, I kind of want to take a bit of what's going on here and incorporate it into this scene. So I'm gonna let's check this out. One thing I probably will do is I'm just gonna go back down here, and because we already have a door here that's already been made, we don't want it to be too dissimilar. So I'm just gonna take what I have and I'm gonna bring it up to our new doorway. I think it would be cool to have a bit of consistency. These are actually kind of new kind of doors that the player comes across here in this environment. A lot of the other ones are kind of very samey and have a very particular look about them, which is cool because it creates consistency and continuity, and it feels like it's a very cohesive environment. But the thing is, and you can tell that's a door because you've seen it before. You know how to interact with it. But it's nice to have a bit of change. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll be able to take that away with me. I want to take that, and I'm going to take this and this. So this is a kind of like a nice framework here. Pretty much use this quite nicely. Okay, we're going to bring it up to here. Now in here I have my texture nodes, and here I have my UV mapping, so I can sort of texture things. And here I usually have like a rendered view, and here I'll just have the solid state view. For now I'm just keeping everything quite easy going. I'm just going to keep to solid state, and just keeps everything a bit easier to run on the computer, although it's not too bad when it's in rendered view because it's quite a powerful computer. It's just, yeah, it's nice to kind of work a bit faster sometimes. This is actually looking really cool already, to be honest. We just need something quite basic, something that just will, you know, set the scene up. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but we'll see. Oh, one thing I didn't for some reason copy is the handle. And I've messed that up already because I've actually I didn't even copy it, I just dragged it across. That's cool. I'll just bring that in from another scene. I'll just save this. There. I also need this pole. This creates like a hinge for the door. It's going to copy everything over. Should I say drag everything over. So apparently I'm just moving doors now to other parts of the game without even thinking about copy and pasting them, although that was my intention. There you go. So move that over there. I think that works pretty well. Now again, I might be checking that computer over here, just because that's my rendering computer and it's actually going through a lot of rendering at the moment for different scenes. Okay, that's pretty awesome. That's looking really cool. One thing I really like though, that's nice. It's bringing that hinge kind of bar forward a bit more. This main frame of the door, the actual door itself, will actually be as a joined model, which would then rotate together. So basically it will be one model, and when I want to open the door it will just rotate at its particular axis, and then it will work really nicely. Otherwise, if you don't join the objects, like these little bolts and everything, or this piece of metal I'm adding here, it's just it will start to rotate all over the place, because its point of origin is at different places, you see. So each model has a different point of origin. You can change that to set to the 3D cursor, as you can see there, the little crosshair. I can set that to transform and change to center of mass, for example, or 3D cursor. So that's something really cool to do there. I don't think I really need that on the top bit, to be honest. If anything, I just need it to be a bit higher up. I want to go with this green one here. And again, I'm interested to see if I can use the same texture as the door. So here I've got my textures on the side there. I'm actually going to experiment here with a bit of rendering. I'm just going to save this so we don't crash. Probably look at selecting this door again, to be honest, and bringing that over. could kind of quickly select this, but I'm not too sure what it's selecting in the background. As you can see, there's other models being selected on the other side. It's kind of annoying, but that's cool. I don't need any of these. Solo those to make sure we've got the right object we need. Don't need that ground texture. Ground model, we can take that out. So there's our door. We do need a couple more things there. We just need framing parts. I think we need the entire frame of that door as well. Yeah, we need the other part too. That's cool. Go here, go here. Okay. Great stuff. Whilst that is setting to render, fingers crossed it works. I'll grab what we need in this file and bring it back in. To copy. For some reason it does not want to copy. Must be awkward. I think we already have that one there, but that's cool. We'll just bring it over anyway. Lovely. If I do add another section to this, we'll just wait for that to load. Okay, so while that's setting up there, hopefully it doesn't crash because it did just now. I'm just going to sort out this little kind of alcovey area. It's kind of like the hallway of where the door leads to into the rock. And as you can see there, we're starting to get some nice sort of textures appear. This will update every time I kind of change things in the view here. That's cool. We might have a bit of lag. Depending how we go, sometimes using the UV can make things jam up a bit, so we might have to restart Blender and come back into it depending. So I'm just going to bring that now into the UV. We can UV unwrap this model. Also set it up so that the verts here, you can see the vertices that I've created. I've kind of meshed everything up right nicely to the edges of the model. So when I add a subdivider, you can see as it smooths out, just because it's in the render view, we've got a nice kind of, oh, we just haven't done it on this top bit here. We've got a nice smooth edge, and then if I smooth that out through here, it's even better. I do this to pretty much every model that I create for Neyyah. I'm using a subdivider just to create and make everything look a bit smoother. This works out really nicely. So one thing I might do as well is just work on this metal, and I'm wondering, I'm going to have to kind of alter this a bit, to be honest. Some of that floor there is actually hasn't been imported from the other scene that I've imported some models from other scenes just to kind of like it speeds modeling up a bit, to be honest. But then it's just tweaking things like this, for example. I'm just going to bring that down because I think this will work quite nicely. If I make it a bit darker, it will look really nice against the rock. At the moment, here I've got my nodes, my material nodes, so I'm now just editing the texture for these beams here, and that's looking really cool. Got some saturation, some gamma, brightness. I've even got a slight hint of brown as well on the color ramp. So if I wanted to, I could just bring that out a bit more on the saturation, make it a bit browner looking. But I think it's pretty cool as it was, just a bit less. Drop a bit more on the gamma, make it a bit darker, and bring it back down again on the saturation. Lovely. I'm just going to experiment with this a bit and see where we're going with this model, because it might look really cool. I kind of want to go for something similar to what we had in this picture here, where we've got like this border going around the door. So we might have a little platform as well, which we've already got there anyway. But we'll see. It's kind of cool just experimenting a bit here. Just going to bring that over there and sandwich there between here. Bring that up. It's pretty cool. It's just looking at things that could work for, depending on, yeah, brilliant stuff, around this area. So like, even though we've got these kind of beams that are going down either side of the door, it's knowing kind of what other structures could be joined to those beams. So for example, we've already got this kind of shape is a repetitive kind of shape that I use in a lot of my modeling. I'm just going to bring this up to kind of create something similar to this. We're probably not too rounded. I don't think we want anything too rounded. We want everything to be kind of angular. And so I'm just going to bring this over here and bring that down. Rotate it a bit. See if that works. To be a bit longer, maybe a bit higher. See what we can get away with. It's looking pretty cool. Just gonna mirror it and then add it to okay, see what happens there. Mirror, bring that in. Ah yes, I know what's going on because we haven't actually added the other beam yet to this side. Another thing is texture as well. So even though we've got the same of one model being just repeated and copied, and we want the textures to run differently. So now I've duplicated the model, but it's got different data properties. So when I select, for example, this vertex here in the edit mode, I can bring that out. It will not change this one. So it's its own model. Even though it's been copied, it's got its own data points. So I can now select the UV. And we probably want to actually focus a bit more on the UV anyway on all these models. So we're going to go to here. I'm just going to select everything from the front view. It's kind of a bit of a hit and miss. Sometimes you might get some of the other bits and bobs of the model, maybe the side bits, but you want I just want the front bits really. Okay, that's cool. And there's one bit missing still, but that's okay. That'll be okay, I think. Just gonna get that, grab it, and bring it over. Now I've got it sort of meshed. Bring it into size a bit more, and we can sort of focus on a bit more detail in this model. Can't see too much at the moment. There's a lot of lightness coming through. Got a shadow of Neyyah coming in here. This is really a cool way of working with the render preview. It kind of just makes things quite nice to work with. Actually, I've got an idea of kind of maybe repeating a similar look to the doorway we have down on the lower ground level of this scene. I'm just going to bring up a pole. So I like the pole elements. Maybe even copy this particular texture to this. It's just sort of layering detail upon detail. It's one of the key things about Neyyah is detail. I'll bring over this pole here. Select what we need. So we have a similar sort of look. We want a similar kind of look, but not exactly the same. It's got to be a bit different. Yeah, I will copy some of this side stuff because it could be that from a certain angle you might see the side of this door. If you're like looking up, for example, you might see this bit here. As you can see, we haven't really textured anything there yet, so it needs to be done as well. But for most of the part, you'll be looking at it front on, so that's cool. And this time, without messing up, I'm actually going to duplicate this model and bring it over here, each model having its own data point, so if I do need to change texture or shape in the editing view, I can. And yeah, I'm going to see how this goes. So I'm just adding these little brackets here to the frame of the door, and I love anything to do with bolts, anything to do with like brackets that hold things together and just cement structures into place. And you'll see a lot of that within Neyyah, that kind of detail, and it's just really nice and fun adding that kind of thing, because once you start, it's very easy to kind of keep going. For example, I've just had the idea that once I've added these, I'm now going to add an extra layer to this metal. And then we've got one here already. I'm going to bring that across just over here. Let's see how this sort of works out. It could be just on this side maybe, and maybe it'll be a slightly different texture as well. I've started to include the texture of the door into the rest of the frame as well. It could be just a gamma thing, it could be a couple of elements that could change the structure, but it's just the extra element of detail. So we've got a bit of it's probably a bit too dark, so we're going to bring that down. I think it might even be, yeah, the actual gamma can be brought up a bit. I'm going to keep the actual saturation down though for this particular texture. I find that it has elements of kind of so what I'm doing there is actually just making sure that this texture is only once it's edited, the actual change is only applied to this particular model. Lost my train of thought there, but that's cool. So make that a bit lighter. That's cool. The value can be brought down, so that makes it a bit darker anyway. It's kind of a bit of a hit and miss when you're working with this, because you know it's a bit fuzzy, but it kind of gives you a general kind of outlook on the actual structure, which is quite cool. So we have these like blades of grass that are just floating at the moment for some reason. I'm just going to select all of these, bring that in. To double check I've selected the right model, I'll either do that or this, just to come right into the model or solo it quickly. You never really want to do that in a rendered view like this, because it will just take ages to reload all the textures and stuff, so it's good to do it in solid state view. And then I'll just come down here, bring this over here, bring some grass blades, because what you want to do as well is start filling the little gaps, you know, what's going on around the doorway, on the rock, you know, and the little bits of foliage, the rocks, the stones that may have fallen from this cliff and landed on the path here, which you've already got elements of anyway. One of my favourite, just double check the textures on this, sometimes it can be a bit too green, but I like the very brown ones. It's kind of very dried plant that has found a way of growing on the rock faces. I think it's funny that people think, you know, it's just a cliff, and this, you know, it's just a cliff. But the thing is, weeds, certain plants do grow within rock faces, and it gives it a bit more of a kind of dynamic contrast as well. You can get a bit more colour going on, it gives it a bit more life, and it shows that life is still sort of existing, is able to exist. Okay, so what we have here is a few extra details. We've got a bit of a chain, a broken chain going across this part of the above the doorway here, that sort of come off. We've made these little wedge parts, these triangular wedge parts, a bit smaller so that when the door does open, it doesn't actually knock into them. So it's kind of looking at that kind of thing as well, making sure the door can actually open. I try and keep sort of foliage, dried grass away from where the door's going to open to, otherwise it will just sort of go right through it, which looks really unrealistic. One thing, a little detail I did add, which is kind of cute for this little scene, is that these planks of wood here, you can see them on the ground here, on the sort of the platform going across the mesh. One of them's come out, and Visionaire decided to basically put one of them against the wall here, and maybe he'll deal with it later, but it's obviously come out, and so he's just propped it against the side of the door here to deal with it later. So I love adding those little kind of details. A bit of kind of character narrative, a bit of the character coming into the world as well, so the world and the characters are kind of merging really strongly into one. It's a very cool thing to do. So what I'm going to do pretty much now is I'm going to render this out and see where we're at, because it's going to be nice to have a nice clear render, and take away Neyyah. He's done his job. I'm just going to put Neyyah right near the door because he wants to go through the door. As you can see here, we've got a nice, it's a bit kind of high, the handle's a bit high to be honest, so I might actually bring that down a bit more. There's no way you can open a door like that. It's gonna be really awkward. This is a very trivial thing. I mean, it's not like you're playing a third-person character who has to do this, but it's just nice to kind of make things a bit more realistic in that sense. So I'm just gonna bring it down about there. See how that looks. And yeah, I'm gonna run a render and see how everything is looking. Okay, so we have our final render. Again, it's just a test render. I think I rendered this at about, let's have a look here. Let's move that out of the way for now. Put the iPad down there. So I rendered this at about 90% resolution. So it's just a bit less than the 100%, but if I bring it forward a bit more, you can see it's a bit more detail. It's slightly grainy, but that's cool. So let's move it back to about 90 or something like that. There you go. And I'm just going to apply the effects that I have for this particular exterior scene. Just got to find them. I actually created these very recently. I think it was yesterday. And it's very exciting getting back into the 3D modeling now after so long, and a lot of different exterior sets still to come. Some really cool surprises as well. So I'm trying not to reveal too much as I'm doing these devlogs, but you'll see certain differences with these particular environments, and so yeah, exciting times. So I'm just going to apply this. Awesome. So yeah, it's looking really nice. I'm liking the clear metal look. There's a bit of shine there as well from the sun. I'm actually really liking this. What I probably might do, just add a couple more bolts to certain things. I'm really liking this kind of added chain thing that's broken off. I might have a bit of the chain here as well, that's sort of falling down. And maybe a bit of greenery that's sort of growing on the actual metal, just sort of on the sides. Foliage is looking pretty good. Might balance it out with a couple more sort of dying ferns on this side as well. And apart from that, I'm really happy with it. It's looking really nice. One thing I do want to do quickly as well is just, yeah, that's better. We've got a slight. I think I thought I might have taken that out already, but maybe I didn't. That's cool. Awesome. So yeah, it's coming along really well. Really happy with it. And the next devlogs will include a lot more modelling over the next month at least, and you'll see a lot of sort of changes, a lot of different things happening. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this devlog. Like, subscribe, comment, and let me know what your thoughts are on the progress of Neyyah. I know it's you know, at the moment, being a one-man band, I'm of course focusing on very particular areas for kind of long periods of time, but eventually I'll be going into sound design, music composition, and all sorts. So it'll be a really nice range of different devlogs down the track. So yeah, wish this Neyyah on Steam as well. Really looking forward to sharing this world with you guys, and I'll see you in the next devlog. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.